Passion is a core part of what it is to be a human being. And today, I want to talk to you about the importance of not just living your passion, but sharing it. I believe it's important to follow your passion, but what happens when we use it to connect with others? Surfing is my passion, and it's been in my life for as long as I can remember. It's what I live for and can't live without. To wake up every morning and to be inspired, to be in love when I see the sea. Surfing is my driving force. It's my lens to focus with. And I get so much energy absorbed from the ocean. And I try to weave together all its elements in my life, from creative expression and facing fears, big ones, exploring the unknown, and the power of just being in nature. I believe in the power of surfing to heal and to connect with others. It brings people together. And I want to share some of my personal experiences with you to explore how some of these elements of surfing can translate across cultural, social, and even gender barriers. A surfer friend of mine once told me that a wave is like a mirror to our soul. It reflects our commitment, our fear and willingness to face it. It's that fear of failure can hold us back. Surfing teaches us to fall. And if you ever take up surfing, the wipeout will most likely be the first trick you will ever perform. As someone who knows a thing or two about success once said, you learn by doing, and you learn by falling. And it's because you fall over that you learn to save yourself from falling over. And that's so important because fear of failure dampens creativity. It keeps us in our comfort zone. Surfing, it teaches us to let go, to keep calm and not panic, even when we're being washing machine beneath a watery avalanche and your body is screaming at you to kick, to fight, to struggle. You have to learn to relax, to let go in those situations, which is a little like life. So I want to talk about how the apparently simple act of surfing can, in fact, become a powerful medium to help build community and even improve humanity through our connection with others and through following our passion. What happens when you follow your passion, though, and it leads you to the cold, dark depths of a heaving wild Atlantic Ocean, detonating all its energy on some slab of rock on a remote headland? I'm often asked, what am I doing out there? And I often ask myself the same question, especially in the middle of winter and I'm getting slammed by a storm, hailstones blasting my already frozen face. But for me, it was more of a natural progression, responding to that pull of the ocean, rather than a conscious decision, and a lot of learning and training. But I think the key element for survival in situations like this is becoming part of a solid crew, working together as a team, and developing a lot of trust in myself and in each other. And what I also get asked about is, what is it like to be one of only a few women on waves like this? Surfing in these conditions requires total commitment. It's so intense in mind and body, regardless of your sex. And I'm pretty sure that the ocean doesn't care at all, whether you're a man or a woman. And it's inspirational to see other women in their element in what for so long has been thought of as this environment of testosterone-charged masculinity, when in fact, some of the first surfers were women. Some of the first records of surfing in the 1700s in the Hawaiian Islands show Polynesian women surfing together with men. The first Western explorers described their skill and grace, riding the tops of crests of waves in unrestrained joy and beauty, equals to their male counterparts. Somehow, our true surf heritage has been lost in translation. Research has highlighted that a lack of female role models is a key issue for female participation in sport. And this certainly isn't for a lack of role models out there, but rather the result of differing media access and coverage in sport, gender norms, how society expects men and women to behave. And these norms, they can really strongly control our beliefs, our attitudes, and behaviors, and impact the accepted and expected roles for women in different cultures and societies. Recently, the organization UN Women emphasized the importance for female athletes and leaders to share stories to inspire, creating visions for girls and new opportunities so they can reimagine future possibilities. When I was a kid living on the northwest coast of Donegal, growing up there was little or no surf scene, and I relied on my annual subscription to what was then the only women's surf publication. That was my way of connecting with what other girls were doing in surfing. And I always remember the first issue I got had this beautiful image on the cover of a woman, and in it, the remarkable story of a modern-day Hawaiian surfing queen. And her name was Ral Sun, and she became my role model. She was a true embodiment of the aloha spirit, and inspirational in terms of bringing kids into the sport, pushing the standards of women's surfing at a time when it was getting little or no support. Her constant love was surfing, and she talked about its power to heal. That when you get in the water and you catch a wave, you own your life again. That surfing gives you great inner strength. In 1998, aged 11, I found out the devastating news of her death. Aged 47, Rel had lost a 15-year battle with cancer. A woman I had never met, and yet she taught me the importance of sharing your passion. In Zen, there is a teaching that says, to swallow the Pacific Ocean is the easiest thing, when inside and outside are no longer two. I like to think of it as the power of the ocean to dissolve the boundaries we have within ourselves and the world outside. And now more than ever, even though we're so connected to the world through technology, there is a need for this, for real connection. And connection is not just a human thing, it's embedded in nature. And that's where surfing comes in, the power of being in nature. It demands that we let go of our expectations and requires our total presence in the moment. And when that happens, we begin to take notice of our surroundings, become a little awed and humbled. And it's as if the salt water literally dissolves those barriers and fears we carry with us when we're on land, and we're no longer separate, but a part of it all. I've recently returned from a journey that just a short while ago I never could have imagined possible. To a country where we don't immediately think of female leaders and pioneers in sport, certainly not surfing. The journey began in 2010 when I followed my passion to a place in a remote desert on the edge of the known surfers searching for waves. And I found it on an otherworldly coastline, a lot like Mars, a place called Baluchistan, a far-flung region in the southeastern part of Iran. Initially, it was primarily about the surf, the search for waves, but it evolved into something so much more than that. I realized the potential of this place, unknown as a surfing destination or even tourists, and I wanted to go back there and connect more with people through surfing. And as a result of that first trip and the short film we made, it caught the attention of other young Iranian women in sport who wanted to share their passion and were excited to know more about surfing. So as a result, I co-founded an initiative and film project this year to engage with others through surfing and to learn from them what it's like to follow your passion in a country so far from my own. The aim of our return journey was to engage with women and learn from their experience of what they thought about surfing for the first time, and also how women's surfing there is perceived by both men and women. The motivation for this project is driven by what I like to call pulling back veils of the unseen, to encourage open-minded travel and tolerance, to show that other possibilities exist, and to understand the familiar from a totally different perspective, and to share a passion. This journey is just beginning. It's still in progress. The seeds of hope are taking root in Iran through surfing, and surf history is in the making, and it's shaped by stories of pioneering water women and sportswomen who want to teach other girls how to surf. The story of a mother overcoming her fear of the water her husband minding their child on the beach while she rides her first wave to shore. A political leader who sees an opportunity for hope and change. Fathers who want their daughters to know the stoke of surfing. Girls and boys learning from each other together. And a village who wants to become the surf center of Iran, establishing the Marine Surf Club initiative. You see, once you get in the water, these rules and norms of society dissolve. The ocean has a real power to connect and spread happiness. But the challenge is coming ashore again. These rules and norms have been built up and protected for centuries, if not millennia. So it's hard to believe that just adding surf could change anything, that the simple act of wave riding could break them. But I hope it will start with this story, the aim of which is to show that there are other possibilities, to challenge and transcend social and gender inequalities, to bridge our fear of the unknown, and to embrace the unfamiliar, opening space for new ways of doing and being, and creating opportunities for both men and women. And finally, this isn't possible to achieve alone in isolation. But I have hope that as a global community of surfers, as a human race connected by oceans, there is tremendous potential to connect with others and to provide moral and practical support, accelerating change. Beginning with initiatives like the Marine Surf Club in Iran, helping the seed for hope grow in a forgotten corner of the world that is rich in cultural heritage, humanity, and heart. It really is about connection. From connection, there is knowing and understanding. The elimination of fear. From connection arises passion. And through it, communication develops that transcends language and culture. Without connection, passion is an empty vessel. I really felt at home at this beach in Baluchistan. It was so far from my own, but on the last day we stayed there until the sun had set and I was cold and wet and exhausted and I didn't want to leave. But as we left the water, one of the young Baluchi guys turned to me and he said, "You're like my big sister. We've become sea sister and sea brother." And I couldn't believe it. He had echoed the words of Rel's son, that if you share the ocean, well then it's like you're completely bonded because you've become blood brother and blood sister. And aloha is to keep giving that love and feeling it come back until there's nothing else to give. Thank you.